I came across a quote this morning. If you've never experienced rock bottom, you will never have ambition. In this video, I want to share how my life experiences have contributed to me gaining something that I wish I had when I was younger doing competitive sport. How did my life experiences develop the winning psychology I needed to do well when I play sports at a competitive level? This video is for those of you who currently compete in sports. You could be a teen, you could be a young adult, or a weekend warrior who's looking to get that razor's edge that helps you to get ahead and win. Whichever the case may be, I hope that you can learn a thing or two from this video. At the very beginning, I mentioned, if you've never experienced what it's like to be a rock bottom, you will not have the ambition, you will not have the desire and the drive to rise up on top. Table tennis happens to be my sport for the moment. I was recently watching some table tennis tournaments in Bangkok, Thailand, and there were people coming from nearby countries and also further away countries to compete. You name it, like the nearest ones would be like Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei, but also Japan, China, Oman, Colombia, India, and much more. For those coming from places where it is known that the country's average wage is much lower, these kids fought with so much more passion. One very drastic example is Malaysia and Singapore. They're separated by just a bridge between these two countries. One used to be part of the other, but in terms of the tenacity, the competitive spirit, they were worlds apart. In these tournaments that I visited, most of the Singapore players were knocked out in the first round of the qualifiers. Those who made it a little bit further, I observed, were of a mixed parentage. For example, one parent was from China. When they lost in their events, while those who are of a mixed parentage, when they went out, they were really upset, crying. But pure Singaporean teammates, they didn't seem very affected at all. In fact, in most cases, they were just happy to be done with it. In the next moment, they were just heading out in groups to the shopping mall downstairs. On the other hand, if someone from Malaysia, Vietnam, China, Korea, if they meet with a defeat, they're there reflecting on their loss, maybe taking some notes, also sitting down, watching the opponents that they beat them and trying to take further notes on how did they possibly excel over them, what advantages that they had. And they're looking at other players as well, other players' matches to take note of what they can learn. What skills do these people who advance further in the competition have over them where they went out early? When we compare Malaysia and Singapore, while the food item on the menu may cost the same in numericals in Singapore as well in Malaysia, but in Malaysia, the currency is nearly 3.5 times weaker than that of Singapore. And the same applies for those in Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia. These kids, if they can do well in any sport, it's been said that for the richest people in the world, over 70% are entrepreneurs, about 14% are investors, 2 to 3% are professional sportsmen, another chunk is inherited wealth, and employees do not stand a chance. That is why, for so many of these teenagers battling out there, they are trying their best to make it successful in their life through excellence in sport. Success and excellence is a non-negotiable. Just too many kids fighting for the same few opportunities to get sponsorship, to get support, to get scholarship so that they can pursue their sport at the highest level. They have a performance record to upkeep. For those in corporate world, it's just like the KPI, Key Performance Index. They're those kids who are trying to advance from the provincial teams to the national team. I also remember when I visited some other sports tournaments in Mexico, also in Spain. The level of competition is so high. So many talented kids. In various sports, you can find people just as good as world class. But the thing is that it's like everyone, like a colony of ants or crabs, everyone's just trying to crawl one over the other to get to the very top, to be the last man standing. Just too many of them. There's so much infighting just to be above all the others. I haven't even gotten to the part where I talk about how my life experiences have made me a better sportsman. That point alone, the first one, how badly do you want it? That's the first most important point. But now I want to talk about how my life experiences have changed how I am in sports. Over the last few years, when I changed my work, when my previous business failed and I went into new work, I worked my way up from an intern to become a working partner of the company, doing a management position with significant responsibilities within the company. I mentioned in previous videos, this climb from being like the company water boy to currently even supervising over some of the people that I previously had to report to. How did I make this jump? One of the big reasons is because getting bottom dollar as an intern, there came a point that I knew that I was worth more. I knew that I could take on a higher responsibility. I knew that I could do certain things better than those people who were paid salary plus benefit. I knew I could bring in more sales. I knew that I could give the company a greater ROI, and I wanted the life that could come along with it. I was no longer content with what I was getting. And as the responsibilities piled onto my plate, having to handle several deals concurrently, several projects, there were meetings upon meetings, stressful issue upon stressful issue. There were those times, Murphy's Law, what will go wrong will go wrong. And multiple things were going wrong at the same time. And during those times, after getting quite fit, I was like, there is no way that I'm going to be taking phone calls during my timeout time. There were still some times, even during my timeout time, I had to pick up some really critical phone calls. And sometimes I was playing a table tennis practice match during that timeout time. I was forced to be able to cope with the information of whatever problem was at hand, to make quick plans about how I could address that right after my table tennis session. But at the same time, I also had to switch my mind back to the task at hand, which was to win this practice match. And there were many days in this journey up to this very day where there is literally no time to take a break, no time even for me to make this video. But I somehow just end up doing it. I understood what it means in the saying, if you want to get something done, you just give it to the busiest person and he'll find a way of doing it. Because such a person knows how to adjust his focus to where it needs to be. When a few things need to be done, we somehow have to figure out, yeah, I know everything needs to be done yesterday. Everything needs to be presented in the last hour. But now that we are not in the situation to have it done yesterday or even tomorrow, we just have to prioritize. We can stress about everything that's on the plate and nothing is going to improve. Or we can pick which areas to sort out first. Above all, our own health, well-being, and fitness. That we can zoom in, tune in to being in this present moment, enjoying this jog, enjoying this run, enjoying the opportunity to make this video. Or I could simply be having all these thoughts overcrowding my mind. So it is not that I don't give a shit about the work that I have to do or the task that I'm supposed to be responsible for, but it's more like, in order to be here, to do this, I empty my mind and put the right thoughts for this activity right here in this space. And if I play this sport, I empty my mind of the work and the worries and the responsibilities and be right here in this space. Is to be choosing the frequency that we want to be on and to be able to choose this frequency at a moment's notice. During my rise to my current position, there have been so many moments where we are at failure's door. But because of the next thing, because of the next level that I have to advance to, I have to get over this hurdle. So many moments, my position is at stake or my trust level is at stake. I just have to get it done. So how can I raise my game to get this thing done? I have to. Failure is not an option. Success is non-negotiable. And with that kind of a mindset, I find myself asking myself, how can I make this work? Or what has to happen in order for this to work out? And how can I make all these things happen? So when we are playing sports, competitive sport, if we absolutely have to win, if it's a 5-set match, we are 2 sets down. We only have the choice of winning 3 sets straight in order to emerge victorious. And we just have to find the ways and means to do it. How can we challenge our ingenuity? How can we produce new solutions to the problem? What is the level that I need to be at to overcome this current challenge? For competitive sports, it could be being able to produce more strength in a shorter period of time. It could be to raise your accuracy by another 10% so that you can do more risky shots. It could be having your mind to work faster, 10% faster, so that I can outthink and outsmart my opponent. How can I lower my reaction time by a certain percentage so that I can be quick enough to return a shot or counter-attack my opponent? Even if it's something that I cannot do already, I absolutely have to make a breakthrough. And this is what those Singaporean athletes lacked. Because even if they fail here, they're still a celebrated athlete in their local school. Even if they fail fail as a competitive athlete, they can always go back to become a corporate slave. After all, after most in Singapore graduate, either they go into the government service or they become a corporate slave. And the parents, or corporate slaves, cheering on the sidelines, they're like, it's okay, you can try the next point, try harder next time. On the other hand, if you look at the Vietnamese parents, Malaysian parents, the Thai parents, like, go! Or in the Koreans, they go, show! 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 That's the difference. If you're not winning, you're not hungry enough. If you're not winning, you're not committed enough to finding solutions to win. You're not focusing on trying to realize and visualize the version of yourself that needs to win and to get to that version of yourself. My channel, Inspire Random, is generally about manifestation. Why I like table tennis so much is because, have you ever thought about how you move your fingers? How you move your toes? Look at those people who, through some accidents, they lost limbs and they have to rely on their feet to eat or to wear their clothes and do various household errands. Necessity breeds possibility. Problems lead to solutions. If you're not yet succeeding, you haven't been pushed hard enough. You're not hungry enough. Coming back to this topic, manifestation. Have you thought about what it is in order to hit that corner of the table? Maybe right now you can aim your shots to land in the very general area of the table. But as you advance in your skill level, you find that you can hit with so much more pinpoint accuracy. Why? Because all this accuracy we develop, which we take for granted, is like a progression upon a progression in our ability to manifest certain body actions, certain control. It's stunning how much progress that someone can make in, a high-paced sport between, let's say, 1 and a few years. If you look back at how much ground you've covered, how much skill level you've improved, how much finesse you've gained, start to ask yourself, all this progress that you can do in this sport. Now, with anything else in your life, business, your goals and dreams and ambitions, whatever, if you could do that, you can certainly craft the life that you want to have. My camera overheated, so for another video, watch this one over here. Bye.